Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. So thanks so much for joining me today. So I have a couple of card ideas that I want to share with you that feature a fun little coloring technique. So it's very simple, very easy to do. You can do it with any stamp set that you have on hand. I'm going to be using the Saleabration stamp set called, I got it right here, Wonderful World. So this is the stamp set that I'll be using, and I'm going to show you just a fun way to color this image um, without having to use your markers. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. So these are the cards that I'm going to just kind of walk you through on how to create. And I actually used some of these designs in a swap that I participated in, and I just really love the designs. So I'm going to share them with you guys today. So good morning. Good morning. Let's see. I am going to change my thing here. There we go. Okay. So if you're just joining me, this is the stamp set that I'm using. We're going to use actually this floral, and we're going to use the smaller one too to create the cards. So this is one of the Saleabration items that Stampin' Up is offering. So as you guys know, Saleabration is happening right now in July and August. So during this time, you can choose any Saleabration item from their little Saleabration catalog for free with a qualifying purchase. So this particular stamp set is it's a stamp set and designer series paper. So it's kind of like a little bundle, and you can get the bundle of both of these products for free with a $100 purchase during Saleabration. So, and that's because you're getting a stamp set and you're getting the designer paper. Okay, so I'll show you some additional cards with the designer paper that I used from Saleabration, but I'm going to show you how to make these cards using just some of the in color products, um, some of the in color paper. So this is the, now let me think, this is the 2020, no, 2021 to 2023 in color collection. I always get it confused. So we're going to use some fresh freesia and some soft succulent to create these cards. So let me get these out of the way and let me show you. Let's do, I'm just going to move some stuff around here. Let's do this one first. So this is the card that I'm going to show you how to make. And it basically involves this very large image from that particular set. And so one of the things with this image is that, you know, you obviously don't necessarily want your image to be all one color. You want your flowers to be one color, and then your stem and your little leaves to be a different color. So what I did is I used a couple of sponge daubers to add some color. So I'm just gonna, actually, I'm gonna move this card out of the way. Don't mind me. I just got off of a all-day Stampin' event yesterday. We had a blast. It was a Christmas in July event, but I'm just a little tired today. So, all right, let me open up my colors here. So I'm going to start. I have two different daubers. I have one for the purplish color for my fresh freesia, and then I have one for using the soft succulent. So basically, you're just going to ink up your little dauber, and then you're just going to dab the color across, you know, the part of the image that you want to color with that, using that particular ink. So I'm going to create my flowers using fresh freesia. So I'm just going to ink this up really good because this is kind of a large image. So we'll add this. And you can just kind of blot it around on top of the image and get it all inked up. All right, so that's the fresh freesia. Then I'm going to take a different dauber and I'm going to add my green. And so basically you're just going to daub in between, or daub dab or dab, whatever, tomato, tomato. So you're just going to add some green on the leaves and the stems. So you can certainly, use your Stampin' Right markers to add color, but I just like to use the daubers. It's just kind of a fun way to add the color. So we will stamp this, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it works like I want it to. All right, so now I have this beautiful floral. Let me just move some of the stuff out of the way here. And now we can go ahead and create our card. So let me bring the card back. So this is what the card looks like. So I started out with a piece of white cardstock. It's just a standard card base that I use. So it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4.25. And that's how you create the base of the card. I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. And then I have a couple different pieces of designer paper. So the first one is 3.5 by 4.75. So I just cut it out of the soft succulent. So I'm using just 2 colors to create these cards. So we'll add this. As soon as I grab my glue, we will add it. 2 days in a row of videos. That's probably why my head is spinning. Okay, so let's add this. So I just added this right off the side here, off the left side. So you can use any pattern paper, any colors. I just wanted to use up, use some of these colors, these in colors from last year. So that's why I decided to go with this. But you can use any colors with this technique and any stamp set. So then I just took a 3.5 by 3-inch piece of designer paper. So this is in the fresh freesia color. And I just added this off the right side of the card. So this, brings in that purple color. And then it gives me a nice little background to add my florals. So it just kind of highlights the florals. So I'm going to add the florals. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the event yesterday. We had a great time. It was a lot of card making, all day card making. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Lots of different ideas, and hopefully those of you that attended have a lot of Christmas card ideas that you can use now. All right, so let's add this little thing here. So I'm just using the deckled rectangles. I suppose I could tell you guys how big this is. This is roughly 2.5 by 4. So roughly a 2.5 by 4-inch piece of white cardstock will work good for if you want to use this layout. Or you could use the deckled rectangles. All right, so that is what that one looks like. And then I stamped a little greeting. So I actually there's no greetings in this particular stamp set. So I pulled out my Quiet Meadow stamp set, and I'm using the You're Too Kind greeting to decorate my cards here. So one little thing I wanted to show you, you might notice that the edge of this cardstock matches the edge of my little deckled rectangle. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So let me open these up. These are the deckled rectangles. So they're all layering. You could actually layer these together, cut out different colors and layer them together on your card. But what I did is I stamped my greeting on just a 1/2-inch wide piece of white cardstock. And then I took the smallest rectangle and I laid it across my sentiment. And then I ran this through the embossing machine. And then when I cut it out, it gave it this little deckled edging on each side of the greeting. So Just a little tip for you. So let's go ahead and add this to the card. I'm just going to put a little dimensional there. And I got another one here. Here we go. And again, you can use any greeting that you want on your card. So I just offset it a little bit. And then, of course, for the finishing touch, I have to put my long-tailed bows on here. So I am going to just add a little glue dot right in the corner, right there. And then I'm just going to stick the knot of the bow on there. And then we can just trim this down. So it's a very simple design, but it's just really pretty. You guys know I like simple and pretty. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then you can go ahead and add, you know, a couple pearls or whatever kind of embellishments that you want to use. Oh, my bow is stuck up on the top there. There we go. So that's the first card. And what you might notice is, you know, you get a little bit of green on your floral, but it's like hardly noticeable. And it just gives you a really stunning look, a really pretty card using this kind of technique. Okay, so since we're using this big one, let's do this next one. So for this one, I did the exact same thing. So let's just stamp that large image. And then I just used up some of my scraps is what I did for this particular card. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab this large image. Actually, let's move this out of the way for a moment. Otherwise, I'm going to get ink everywhere. So let's use the fresh freesia, and we're just going to add it to the floral. So I find that the daubers work the best. The sponge, it gets too much, you know, there's too much ink that goes everywhere. You can be more controlled in where you put your ink when you use the dauber. So I just want to make sure I get a lot on there. I think I need to re-ink my pad. I think that's my problem. But that's okay. All right, so we'll move this out of the way and we'll bring in the green. So this is the soft succulent. And then just dab a little bit in between. That's probably the trickiest part, is getting in between these two florals right here. All right, we'll move that out of the way. And then we will stamp our image. So if you have a lot of florals, you know, floral stamp sets or whatever, then this technique would work great with any of them. You know, a lot of florals that you have to color like this. Okay, so let's bring this card back. So what I decided to do is just kind of use up some of my scraps. So as I was creating, I always end up with, you know, some kind of scraps. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'll just kind of walk you through. So this card's going to look a little bit different because I switched around the colors, but it's the same concept. So the first scrap that I used was a 1.5 by 3 inch piece. And that's going to go like up here in the corner. And then the next one is 2.25 by 3. And so that just goes on the opposite side. So you can see I switched around the colors. And then I have a 2 by 4 inch piece that I put down on the bottom. So it just kind of makes a nice little design. So if you guys have a lot of scraps, this is a great way to use them up. And I'm into using vellum lately. So I had a little scrap piece of vellum. This is just 2 by 4 that I'll adhere on the left side of the card. But first, let's go ahead and adhere these pieces. So I like to try to use up my scraps right away instead of saving them. I don't always get them used up right away, but I do like to try to do that. Because otherwise, if I save them, then I just keep saving them and saving them and saving them, and I never use them. So, so the name of the stamp set, Carol, let me grab it. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. This is the stamp set I'm using, Wonderful World. It's a Saleabration stamp set. So I'm using this image, and then the next card I'm going to show you is using the smaller rose image. All right, so now I'm going to add this last piece. So, and like I say, using up your scraps is kind of like putting together a puzzle. I just kind of lay them out and go, oh, this looks good here. This one I got to cut down just a little bit. Looks good here. And then I figure out a different piece. So I just kind of play around with the pieces until they fit or until I have to cut them down so they fit. That's how I do it. So let's add our little vellum. And I'm really into using vellum lately. I'm sure you guys noticed that. But I really think that the vellum just kind of mutes the background. So if you have a really bright background, this isn't really bright, but it does kind of mute it a little bit, and it just gives it a little bit more texture or, depth and dimension. So I really like adding just little pieces of vellum here and there. I'm using up all my dimensionals that are on the side here. So we'll pop this up. And I will get all these card ideas and the dimensions for the paper out on my blog later today. So I will post that when I have that out there. And then now I have my little greeting. So I'm going to add a little dimensional there. I have like 3 sheets of dimensionals that are half used. So I just used up 1 sheet. Yay. All right, so we'll pop this up. And then we'll just add our little bow and our pearls, and that's it. So it's a great way to use up your scraps, and it's just a fun way to use this little floral image too. So we'll add that little bow, and then we can add some little pearls, and then this card is done. Excuse me. Okay. So the next one that I have is this one. And so this time I switched out the floral, and we're going to use this smaller little rose. And so this is just kind of a fun design. Again, I just kind of play around with different layers, different sizes. I'm usually inspired to create a design from my scraps. So that's probably where this design came from, is some of my scraps. So for this one, what we're going to do is I'm going to use a smaller deckled rectangle. So let's see how big this one is. This one is about 1 3/4 by 3. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, though, is stamp the greeting on the bottom. So we'll add that. So I'm just using oops, get this out of the way. I'm just using the soft succulent to stamp that. And then I'm going to, again, use my sponge daubers. So here's my fresh freesia one. And this time I'm going to add that to the top of this rose. And you can be generous with your ink so that you get a good stamped image. So we'll add that. And then we'll do the soft succulent below. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm gonna just close my ink pads so I don't get a bunch of ink on these other cards that I want to show you. All right, so now we will take this and we will add this right to the top part of this little rectangle. And then there's our floral. Isn't that fun? I don't know. Have you guys used this technique before? Have you used the sponge daubers to color in your images? It's just it's so simple and fun to use. So, all right. So since I have this here, I think what I'll do is just add my little ribbon right away. So I just took a little piece of this white seam binding ribbon and just tied it around the center here. And I just made a double knot. And notice how I don't pull my knot together until I get these side pieces where I want them. Just a little trick I learned. And then we'll just trim off some of this excess here off the side. So it's just a quick little bow, kind of a fake bow, a cheek bow. Okay, so let's bring the card back in so you guys can see what I'm making. So this is what I'm making. So the pieces, let me grab all these pieces here. Let's see, that 3 by 3 1/4. So this one is 3 by 3 1/4. This piece, 3 by 3, 3 by 3 3/4. Sorry about that. And then this is 3 1/4 by 4. So this is just a 1/4 inch bigger. So let's see. I want to use this side. So I'm going to adhere this to my fresh freesia. So both of these colors are fresh freesia. So it's just a matted out piece of designer paper, and that's our background. So we'll add that right in the center of the card. And then we're just going to take our soft succulent piece, which is 1 1/2 by 4 1/2. And this is just going to go off the left side of the card. I should say the left side of this designer series paper piece. So we'll just adhere this. And then of course I have my vellum. So you can add the vellum right behind your piece here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add some glue here. And oh, what size is this vellum? I forgot. Hang on. We'll just adhere that. I'll just measure as I go. So my vellum is 2 1/2. 2 1/2 by 2 1/4. So 2 1/2 by 2 1/4. So again, this is just a scrap piece of vellum. So I like using up my scraps. But notice how it just kind of adds a little bit, just kind of gives the card a little bit more depth and dimension just by adding that little piece of vellum right behind it. So we'll add this. All right, so here we go. We'll add this one right here. It looks like I might have put it on differently this time. That's all right. Okay, so yeah, I put it on the wrong way. So notice how this is a little bit thinner with my vellum and this one's a little bit thicker, but that's okay. They both look really cool either way. So whichever way you decide to add your vellum, that's pretty cool. All right. So let me bring back the other cards. So these are the 3 cards that I shared with you today. So just a fun way to use your little daubers to add ink to any of your stamped images. So it's kind of fun. I'm going to scoot this. Let's see if I can get these all on screen for you. So the other ones I created, I used the exact same design and I created them using the Wonderful World Designer Series paper. So these were created with the In Color, the 2021-2023 In Color paper, and I used the exact same designs to create these. So actually, let me show you one at a time so you can see them better. So here you go. You can see these are the exact same design. It's just different colors and different paper. So this happens to be Orchid Oasis, and then some Pear Pizzazz green for the flowers. So there's one. So I keep telling you that you can use your card designs over and over again with just different pattern papers. I didn't even change out the stamp set. I just used different pattern papers and different colors to create the exact same cards. And then here's the last one where where I used up all the scraps. All right, so I hope this gives you guys some good ideas. Let's see if I can put them on the screen this way so you guys can all see them. So I hope this gives you some fun ways to use your designer paper and to use your stamp sets to add color. Let's see if I can get back on the screen here. There we go. All right, you guys. So that's what I had to share with you today. So I just had a lot of fun creating these. And, like I said, I created some of these for a swap that I had with my demonstrator friends. But I thought you guys would enjoy them as well, just using this particular stamp set and supplies. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. And thanks so much for tuning in and every Sunday and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. I will go back through and I will look at your comments. I didn't have a chance to see all the comments as I was working, but I will go through and take a peek at your comments. So have a great day, everybody. If you want more information about Saleabration, I did include a link in the description with this video. So go check out Saleabration and all the fun things that you can get for free when you shop during Saleabration. So have a great day, everybody. Take care, and I will see you guys again next week.